And welcome once again for another edition of DSU Inside Perspective. I'm your host, Carlos Holmes, and today we're going to be talking once again about sequestration. Higher education will be impacted by sequestration as well as other entities in our country. And they could be affected in our research grants and money that's coming in, for our programs and financial aid. And along the lines of that last area, I've asked Lynn Iacono to join me today. She is the Executive Director of Student Financial Services for Delaware State University. Lynn, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
We've been concerned about this sequestration for a while now, and it's become a reality. How does it affect financial aid?
Well, the Pell Grant, which is the basic piece of financial aid, is not going to be impacted. There may be down the line, in future years, Pell Grant may be impacted, but this next coming year, Pell is not going to be impacted. The SEOG grant, which is a Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grant, which is awarded to the lowest Pell Grant EFCs, that may be impacted where we will have a reduction in that amount. So awards for all of our students will be less than they were in the previous years. The TEACH grant, which we do have several students, we have about 36 students currently availing of the TEACH grant. That will have a 5% impact on the total funding. So I'm not sure how that's going to be impacted, whether each award will be reduced so that the 36 students who have it will be able to continue. They'll just get a little bit less of those funds, or there'll be a total grant reduction. So that remains to be seen. There's not enough information. This past year, what we saw was some impact on parent loans. A lot of our families use the parent loan to supplement what the federal aid did not cover. And initially, at the start of this past year, credit checks were very difficult for parents, and a lot of parents who usually get PLUS loans were declined. That has a lot of implications. For the returning student, if you cannot get a PLUS loan, you may not be able to return. So therefore, that impacts the university's graduation rate and the retention rates. So it not only impacted our new students, it impacted our returning students. The federal government lightened some of the credit check later in the academic year, but if those students had already decided not to return, they were not here at DSU to be able to avail themselves of this increased ability to take a PLUS loan. They might have returned in the spring semester, but we did have an impact in our retention and numbers because some of the parents couldn't receive parent loans. That has far-reaching effects for a lot of institutions, because the U.S. Department of Education looks at an institution based on its retention rate, based on its graduation rate. So if a student has to stop out and transfer to another school, they're not going to be in our graduation rate. So we are impacted, and that has going to have far-reaching effects down the line.
Now, there are a lot of variables to be concerned with when it comes to financial aid. Everybody's case is different. What is your sense with the students? Are they getting it, that there's an issue here that they need to be concerned about, that maybe they need to be looking at other sources of financial aid, other loan type sources?
Well, one hope that the information did get out and students are out there looking for additional scholarship funds. The university offers a lot of scholarship funds, but there are a lot of outside agencies that also offer scholarship funds. So if you're a brand new student coming in, you may want to look to those avenues and determine, is this scholarship for a particular program? Should I decide to choose that as my major because I could receive additional funding to receive my undergraduate? If you're a returning student and you've already committed to your major, then you need to reach out. You need to file for the university scholarships, but you need to make sure you're very competitive because there's going to be a lot of competition for those dollars. So the stronger that GPA, the much better you have of availing yourself of those funds. So we need to reach out for tutoring. Students need to reach out to their academic advisors, and they need to stay very sharp.
So they need to put themselves in the best position, and a strong position to be able to get the loans or the scholarships that are out there.
Correct.
Is there a lot of networking going on right now between institutions of higher education, people in your area?
There are, yes. There are a lot of the college presidents are communicating, and then vice presidents are communicating, and we do, as financial aid groups, I belong to what's called the Tri-State Association, which is Maryland, D.C., and Delaware, and we all have an association. We do communicate with each other. Another thing that has come out of all of that is we are talking to a lot of families to work with the Department of Education to clean up the credit. If there's something that a parent can do now to be proactive, such as sometimes you don't know that maybe you have a medical bill out there that maybe you didn't receive the bill from the hospital or their servicer, and therefore it's now gone delinquent, and that may end up having an impact on your credit history. So you want to do a reach out and take a look at your credit and see what you can do to try to clean it up, so that if you are going to come back as a student and your parent is going to look at that parent loan, they may have a better chance of going after that parent loan by looking for some of the things that they can do to clean that credit up.
Delaware State University is a historically black university. Historically black universities traditionally service a lot of first generation students. Some of them come from low income backgrounds.
Yes.
What's the percentage of Delaware State University students that are on financial aid?
Approximately 86% of our students are on some form of financial aid. Good many of them get scholarships. They have great GPAs. We have a really good, robust, this past year was a very robust year, and I do think our scholarship committee is going to have a very busy time trying to determine how to award those dollars to students this coming year.
Well, we hope more will be known about how this is all going to roll out with all this stuff. I want to thank Lynn Iacono for joining us today on DSU Inside Perspective, and thank you for joining us too. Be good, and we'll see you again.
Thank you for having me. Bye.